So there's a tablespoon of yeast going into either 1 3/4 cups of warm water, about 110 degrees, or into potato water. And then you mix it up, let it sit around for a few minutes, and it will look like this. This is what we mean by proofing. Perfectly proofed yeast, ready to go, active. But before we can add it, we need to beat up these eggs. So I'm going to break the eggs up, and you notice I'm doing this in the insert of a crock pot because you could actually bake this bread in a crock pot. This is a high-sided bread. So we've got 7 eggs. This gives a really nice yellow color and crumb to this bread. And then we want a teaspoon of coarse black pepper. Gives it just a nice oomph. And mix that in, and a 1/2 cup of extra virgin. Of course, it's Umbrian olive oil this time. So a 1/2 cup of olive oil goes in for moistness, and a cup of grated pecorino cheese, which you know is sheep's milk cheese. And I'm not going to add any salt because we have plenty of salt right in that cheese. All right, now we've got that all mixed up, we can add the yeast. So the yeast and the water go in. This is going to make a really large loaf of bread, or you could make a few smaller ones. Mix this in, and now we need to add flour to this. So here we have, about 7.5 cups of flour. You'll use somewhere between 7 to 8 cups of flour. So I'm not going to put it all in at one time. I'm going to add just a little bit at a time. That's a pretty heavy dough, and you can also do this if you wanted to in a KitchenAid mixer or a heavy-duty mixer that you have. So now you really get into this. Little arm action going, and if it sticks to your hands, a little extra flour. Now, this is called pane di formaggio as well as crescia. And that's because we're going to be adding some cheese to it. I'm going to spread this dough out. Can you see those little flecks of pepper in there? Get this all spread out just roughly. And now here are our cheeses. This is just fior di latte, fresh mozzarella. It looks like this. This is how you buy it, usually in its own way. And we've diced it up here into small pieces. So some mozzarella goes on right over the top. And then we have provolone. This is another cow's milk cheese. We're going to put that in. So you want about 1.5 cups of the mozzarella, and you want about a cup of the provolone. So spread it out, and then gather the dough up and enclose all the cheese in the dough. Now you want to knead that again. And we want to cover that tightly and put that aside now in a warm place, not hot, about 75 degrees. Then, when it's risen, it will look, I don't know, like Monte Sant'Ungino. So you push this down to disperse the gluten and the air, and you take it out. And now it's nice and fluffy, and it's still a little bit tacky, sticky, but that's okay, because we're going to knead that again. And all I did was grease this really well. So you want to make sure you have olive oil all the way on the bottom and up the sides. Then take that ball of dough, knead it again until it's a nice round, and put it right in the crock pot. Then you're going to set this one aside. Look at that. That's ready to go, and this is another crock pot insert idea. So now this is ready to be baked. Our oven is on at 375 degrees. We're going to put it in. and cook that for about 40, 45 minutes.